I'm back, you guys. Did I get COVID from the radio company concert? I did. Did it take me out for a week? Was it worth it? Yes. Yes, it was. Anyways, it's time for me to yap about how insane the 5-day period between like AustinCon and the radio company concert was. And we were in Austin for a week, which I've never been to Texas before. Certainly never been to Texas in the dead of August when it's like 100 degrees with 80% humidity. So we did a little bit of sightseeing. We went to the museum, we saw different stores, we went to South Congress, we did what we could. But the main draw of the trip obviously was AustinCon Radio Company. And when I tell you I was not aware until I had stepped foot in that ballroom that this was one of the largest supernatural conventions to date, I really wasn't prepared. I was not prepared for it. My only other con experience was March. I went to Burbank Con. According to Richard Spate, who I talked to at length, that was like the smallest, most low-key con they've done in a long time. And that was my first one. It was like down the street from my house, so it was like a no-brainer that I went. But like, he definitely told me that you've now experienced the full spectrum of supernatural cons between Burbank and Austin. And I'm like, good. I don't like to do things halfway. Let's just jump right in head first, fearless. Anyways, we had the absolute luxury of staying at the Marriott where the con was taking place for the entire week. And as someone who has traveled very, very rarely, and the times I have traveled, I was like hotel hopping or B&B hopping, and it was a nightmare. It was so nice to be in one place. And I cannot tell you the convenience of like the con being 2 floors below where I'm sleeping. Like, that is a luxury that unfortunately I am now going to require at every con I go to. It's so bougie, and unfortunately, now that I've had a taste of it, it's like a requirement. Because I'm lazy, and I do like to sleep until the very last second. So before the con shenanigans even began, we went to the family business beer pop-up the night before the con, and let me tell you, that was a party, okay? I was not prepared. I was definitely not prepared for the mesh trucker hat I was about to buy. Like, why? But also, what are you supposed to do when Danielle's brother looks you in the eyes and starts selling you merch? You know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do? There's one option for you. You buy it. So I have this hat, I guess, and stickers and some other things. And that wasn't even the fun part of the night, though. The fun part of the night was, and I won't say her name in case she's not comfortable with me talking about her on Maine, but the woman who sold me my radio company concert ticket found me that first night as a fluke. And it was so much fun to meet her. She introduced me to all her friends. She gave me the fandom tea. It was so much fun, and we ended up hanging out off and on all weekend. Love you, girl. You know who you are. And it was just such a cool night. We were all like sitting at these like picnic tables outside, and there were food trucks, and it was hot as hell. But we were all just like gossiping about fandom and supernatural, and it was like, I was like, oh my God, my people. This is so much fun. For the con itself, I mostly focused on panels and roaming the vendor room because I did not have photo ops or autographs this time. It was not in the budget, but maybe next time. I absolutely love just like walking by the photo op table where they print the photo ops and they leave them for people to pick up, because everybody is so clever and cute and adorable, and like you can see them as they're coming in, and it's just awesome. It's like one of my favorite things. I'm one of those girlies who sits on the internet every weekend there's a con and like looks at people's photo ops from home. So being in the thick of it in real life as it was happening felt very good. Also, there are some vendors that I love in that room, and I visit repeatedly, and met all sorts of new friends. It was so much fun, and the panels were great. I saw a bunch of panels that I missed at Burbank, a bunch of new panels. Had a great time. The only drawback is that we were in the most fuck-ass seats in the bronze section, or the copper, whatever the fuck, what's it called? Copper? In the copper section. We bought like the last 2 copper seats in the con because we bought them so late, and they were awful. They were literally back of the room, behind the general admission. Please explain that to me. Anyways, not doing that again. Terrible, horrible view. It's fine. That's why there's so few videos and photos from me in regards to the panels, because I'm in the back of the room. But it was still fun. And even better for me, I got picked again. For those of you who don't know, I got picked in Burbank to stand in the Misha panel line. So even though I was last on the list, like I was the last time, and didn't get to ask a question, I knew they weren't gonna have time for me. But that meant that I got to line up on the side of the room and be so much closer to the panel than I would have been at my seat. And I was like, okay, I'm down with this. Like, I like this. And it was Misha's 50th birthday weekend, so they brought out a cake and they sang him happy birthday. It was very cute. Very, very fun. And then, you know, the next day was the J2 panel. And I haven't seen Jared before. He wasn't at Burbank. So this is the first time of me seeing Jared in person, even though he was very far away. The man's very tall, so easy to see. And it was just so lovely. Their families were in the audience. It was very wholesome. The panel was very like family friendly, wholesome, which is cute. And I was very glad that I was there. And it was overall just a wonderful experience that continued into the next few days. So by this point, I now like know people around the con. We're saying hi to each other. We're hanging out. It's so much fun, you guys. I did not expect to meet so many new friends with like-minded interests at this con. And there was a pretty diverse group of people. I won't get into it, but like, if you think of the fandom factions, there was everybody from every faction all together in a room. But personally, I avoided drama, so I had a great time. And Monday was kind of a rest day. I was trying to conserve my strength for Radio Company. Let's talk about Radio Company. Let's talk about it. Wait, I totally forgot to mention that during the con weekend, I did meet Brianna. I got her CD signed, and I also met Steve Carlson from Radio Company, because when you bought a poster, which I didn't realize you got an autograph. So anyways, that did happen. It was very fun. We also talked to Felicia Day for a minute. We just ran into a lot of people, just like on the con floor, like not even at a photo op or an autograph signing or anything. People are just walking around and you can say hi, which is really fun. Okay, now we're gonna get into Radio Company. So I went to the Tuesday night show. So there was the Monday and the Tuesday night show, which was great because I kind of low-key was watching Twitter to see like what was going down Monday night so I would be prepared for Tuesday. It was as hot and crazy as everyone online said it was. The venue had basically no airflow, and it was 105 degrees in Texas that day. And if you're not familiar with Texas, it doesn't cool down at night. And there were like 300 people crammed into a tiny venue with no airflow. And so when I tell you it felt like I was swimming in soup, like human body fluid soup, that's what it was like. The only thing that could have made that experience worthwhile was seeing Radio Company live. So it's a good thing that that's what it was, because in no way would I suffer through that for anything else, basically. And standing room only, like general admission, is not my jam. I do prefer concerts with a seat, but because of that, it was way more intimate than most of the concerts I've been to. And I have been to a lot of concerts. I am a concert girly, and I can honestly say, stadium shows aside, I'm not gonna compare this to a stadium show. As someone who's been to Eras, I can't compare it to that. But for regular concerts, this is by far the most fun I have ever had at a small scale concert. It was so awesome. They made us forget completely the heat in the room, how tired our feet were from standing. Everybody knew all the lyrics. They sounded so good live. The band was full of all these incredible musicians and backup singers, and just like the vibes were absolutely impeccable, and it was worth the entire trip. That night was worth the entire trip. And it felt so special knowing like how seldomly Radio Company does live shows. To be able to see them live, I understand, was such a huge privilege. And I felt that when I was there. I was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky I was able to come to this. And if you've seen any of the pictures or videos from the concerts, I don't even need to say it. Jensen, are you trying to kill people en masse? Is that like is that what you're trying to do? Because that's all I'll say to maintain decorum on this app. And also, it's about to cut me off. But I just have to say, if you haven't listened to Radio Company yet, do yourself a favor. Also, the live shows are low-key on YouTube to watch. So if you haven't seen them, go on YouTube and they're there. You're welcome. I could go on and on and on, but I am gonna make additional videos on the crazy merch and stickers that I bought at this con, as well as some of the tea that I learned about this fandom. I won't go into all of it, but some of it we gotta get into because, wow.